Hello, and welcome to TakeItApart.net's first video article. Today we will disassemble a Nintendo Gamecube. It is important to note that a few precautions must be mentioned. Be sure to keep a game disc in the machine during the disassembly process. This reduces the chance of damaging the lens on the disk drive. The first step, as usual, is removing the screws that hold the device case together. The first 4 screws are located on the bottom of the device and require a standard 5/32 socket screwdriver to remove. You may need to shake it a little bit to remove those last screws. The next step is removing the top of the device shell. It can simply be lifted off in a vertical motion. Next, release the front panel by unsnapping it and tilting it forward. In order to do this, you must first remove any memory cards or plugs that are in place. Be careful not to damage the ribbon cable connecting the panel to the rest of the device. The ribbon will be disconnected from the main PCB later in the disassembly. The back panel can be removed in a similar fashion. Next, remove the screws connecting the plastic front panel to the PCB behind it. Next, remove 2 screws near the rear of the device that hold the cooling fan in place. Now, remove the fan assembly and the power cable connecting to it. After that, remove the screws that secure the memory card grounding brackets. Next, remove the various screws currently visible. After those screws are removed, the drive assembly can be easily lifted off. Be sure to notice the 5 screws on the bottom of the drive assembly that must be removed to access the lens component. Once all the screws are removed, you can go ahead and remove the metal plate. The brown ribbon cable can be removed by loosening the black friction lock securing it. Slide the black part of the connector outward. Once that is done, the ribbon can be removed by pulling in the same direction. The white ribbon requires a bit more force and a bit of jiggling to remove. Now, the blue wire connected to the lever sensors can be removed by pulling. Be very careful not to damage the lever sensors. Doing so could render the Gamecube non-operational. Now, 4 screws attached to the drive assembly PCB can be removed. Be careful to keep the washers with the screws. The PCB lifts off easily, but is attached to the drive assembly with a soldered wire. If you aren't inclined to solder, be careful not to tear the wire. The upper metal plate of the drive assembly can be removed after the PCB is lifted off. It is secured to the drive assembly with 4 plastic clips. Remember, it's plastic, so don't get too rough with it. The plastic drive assembly case can be disassembled by releasing the 3 clips around the perimeter. To remove the controller port PCB, lift the ribbon out of its spot on the main PCB. Now, the main PCB can be released by removing the 6 screws located on the heatsink. It lifts off the device base with steady, moderate force. The lower metal plate under the main PCB can be released by removing 4 screws. It easily lifts off. Minor metal pieces are accessible and can be removed from the plastic base. The final PCB can be taken out by removing the 4 screws securing it. Once the screws are removed, the PCB and surrounding metal bracket can be lifted out.